Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice of radio, and ladies and gentlemen, today I have good news. For a long time, we have been asking, where is Suicune-GX? It seemed ludicrous that Suicune wasn't getting a GX. We'd seen Raikou and Entei GX, and they'd actually been in their own little collection. But it's alright, Suicune got like a pin or something. It's not good enough. And people have been pointing out in my comment section of my videos lately, come on Wossy, you're telling me we're getting Sigilyph GX and Shuckle GX, but we're not getting Suicune GX. How is that fair? Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to announce that it's just been officially revealed on the official Japanese Pokemon website. We are getting Suicune GX. And I'll tell you what, it ain't even half bad. Now, it is a water Pokemon, and it is a basic water Pokemon, so that means that you can search it out with Brooklet Hill, which is rather lovely. 180 HP is higher than Tapu Lele, but lower than Buzzwole, so it's about right for a basic GX, to be perfectly honest. I should also mention that being a water Pokemon gives you access to Aqua Patch to accelerate energy, which is rather nice, as well as meaning you can hit weakness on Turtonator, but the best Fire GX at the moment is Ho-Oh, and you're not hitting weakness, so water's not a great weakness to hit, but between Brooklet Hill and Aqua Patch it really isn't too bad. Weakness to grass means you'll get caught by stuff like Golisopod GX and Tapu Bulu GX if they see a huge amount of play, which I'm not convinced they will, and the retreat cost of 2, I'm going to be honest, a little bit awkward. So, not terrible basics, but what does it actually do? Well, I translated this myself using Google Translate, but then the lovely Tunu1223 over on Twitter just, told me what it actually did so that I could check. Huge shout out to that lovely person who you should all be following on Twitter at this point. The ability says, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it back into your deck. And initially, when we're looking at this, we're thinking, heal it. Now, the retreat cost of 2 is a little bit awkward, but essentially here, this allows you to take Suicune off the bench when it's about to be KO'd. If you've got 40 HP remaining, your opponent is going to be itching to play a Guzma, bring that Suicune into the active and KO it. That is not what you want to do. So how do we get around this? How do we fix this? We retreat it to the bench, and then we shuffle it in. Retreating it to the bench can be a pain. Remember that Floatstone has rotated out, so you're not going to have any help from that. And remember that the retreat cost is 2. You can only do this from the bench, but then it's basically a free ace roller. Now, it does go into the deck, which is, well, it could be a pain or not be a pain. I mean, if you've got an Orangaroo on the bench, you're probably going to want it to go into the deck rather than clogging up your hand so you can draw fewer cards with Instruct. And let's face it, with Brooklet Hill, it's not going to be difficult to drag it back out of the deck. You don't get to keep the energy, etc., but essentially this is just a way of healing it. But it does more than that. It's a way of freeing up a bench slot. If you really want to bench a Dedenne to try and take out a Rayquaza GX, but you don't have enough bench space, then you use Suicune's ability, get it off the bench, now you've got a bench space saved there for Rayquaza. It's one of those abilities where people are going to do weird things with it, but it frees up a bench space, it heals up Suicune, it's a good ability. But we're not going to play this just for the ability. No, ladies and gentlemen, we need the attacks. First attack, Water, colorless, 120 damage. During your opponent's next turn, any damage done by attacks by the defending Pokemon is reduced by 30. It's fine. If you're hitting for weakness, it's great. Because if you're hitting for weakness here, then your opponent's just getting one hit KO'd. That Turtonator GX I mentioned earlier, he gone, ladies and gentlemen, he gone. But if you're not hitting for weakness, this is a bit of a pain. Now, this does give you a bit of extra bulk. Let's talk about that for a moment. I told you that 180 is fine for a basic GX, but it's not out and out brilliant. Well, the great news is here that you're actually better than that, because this puts you up to an effective HP of 210, which puts you up there with Zoroark And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are rolling rather nicely indeed. It really does give you that extra bulk that we're looking for. But 120 as a number, it's just not awe-inspiring. It just doesn't do everything that we might hope that it does. It doesn't really KO much. Now, usual rules apply here in that, yes, you can add a choice band and it goes up to 150, and then you're getting a KO on Marshadow. But like no one's playing that at the moment. And yes, you could also add a Professor Kukui here, and then you're up to 170, and then you're getting a one-hit KO on a Tapu Lele. The problem here is this. You're not going to be facing against a Marshadow, and you're rarely going to have Choice Band Kukui in the same turn. And it all gets a little bit awkward. Sure, you can use Shrine of Punishments to get a bit of damage going around the field, but you're a GX, you're damaging yourself as well. I'm not saying this is a bad attack, but I am saying it's a two-hit KO attack, because you're unlikely to be facing against Marshadow, you're unlikely to get a Choice Band Kukui regularly, and you're unlikely to be hitting for weakness, because most GXs here are just not weak to this. Even Ho-Oh isn't. Now, if we talk about non-GXs, again, 120 is not quite enough. Now, there's plenty of Pokemon out there that have got 120 or less. Think things like Tapu Koko, for instance. But there's plenty of stuff out there like Registeel that end up with 130 HP and you won't be able to KO. And then you get up to the bigger boys like Solgaleo, Prism Star, or the Stage 2s like Empoleon, and 120 isn't even particularly that close. This is a nice little attack for two-hit KOing. Do 120, you can take a hit next turn, do 120. That's fine, but it's rarely going to give you a one-hit KO. In terms of the attack cost here, you can't use double colourless energy, it's a little bit of a pain. Good news is you can use Aqua Patch, and that's what really saves this from being a terribly overpriced attack. But honestly, I'm just not loving this attack. It's great for two-hit KOing, but I don't know if you're going to be smashing with this. As for the GX attack, it's Golisopod's. It's literally Golisopod's GX attack. 2 water, 1 colourless energy, 150 damage. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. The difference is Golisopod GX could do this for a grass double colourless, which means 2 energy attachments, whereas you need 3 energy attachments. Now, you've got Aqua Patch, so that is mitigated somewhat. Post-rotation, we're not going to have Max Elixir, though. At the moment, Lapras is a good basic Pokemon because you can use a combination of both Max Elixir and Aqua Patch to just hammer energy onto it super quickly, and that's why Lapras isn't overpriced. We cannot say the same thing about Suicune, because by the time it's released, which will be in Lost Thunder, we will have lost Max Elixir. And sure, we're still going to have Aqua Patch, but we're not going to have Max Elixir. And I worry that that's going to make this attack a little bit overpriced. Now, in terms of the damage, you had a choice band on it, you're up to 180, and you're getting Tapu Lele, and you're getting Rayquaza, but you're not getting Buzzwole. And without a choice band on a non-GX, you're not getting Empoleon, you're not getting Solgaleo. 150 is not the number right now. 160 is the number. It's why we love things like Knuckle Impact on a Buzzwole. It's why things like Lapras have seen a little bit of love. 160 is the number. 150 is not the number right now. And that's a little bit upsetting. And I worry that Suicune has a great ability with so many fun little uses. And I worry that the attack is not good enough for that ability. I love the ability on Suicune. No argument there. But what attack are you using? Are you going to be using Aqua Patch to build up to 2-hit KO with that first attack? I'm not sure you're going to. When you compare this to the great attacking GXs, like Gardevoir, for instance, like Rayquaza, I just don't think it's good enough. I like this, and being a basic water Pokemon with stuff like Brooklet Hill helps, and it's not a bad Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination. It's fine. But honestly, I'd rather be attacking with Lapras. I love the ability, but it's not going to do anything if we're not attacking with it. I'm going to give Suicune 3 Wassies. I love that we're finally getting it, but I do worry that we've waited this long and the GX is just a little bit underwhelming. Fine. But after all the palaver we had to go through to get Suicune, is fine good enough? Let me know in the comments section, ladies and gentlemen. Go nuts, but do remember the rule. Please be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.